Hello all. Hopefully this will be up my normal time on Sunday, because I'm actually recording this at about 4 o'clock on Sunday, so I've only got a couple of hours to upload it and make sure it's all sorted. I've just been very busy, and I think I've worn a lot of things that I'd consider like cozy, comforting, easygoing this week, because yeah, it was just super intense. I've got a project that's all been moved around for ages, and now I've got a deadline looming, so very busy. Let's have a look. I'm just going to say, obviously, and then I'm just going to move on from Mon Guerlain almost immediately. It's lavender, bergamot, iris, jasmine, sambac, rose, Tahitian vanilla, coumarin, Australian sandalwood, licorice, benzoin and patchouli. So yeah, I mean every week pretty much. So okay, this one no, I haven't worn for ages, and I'm not really sure why I put this on the other morning. I think I was looking for something that was like a freshie. I sniffed it and I thought, let's try that one. And it is very pretty. I just don't know if it's me. So this is Pure Grace Summer Moments. And this is the perfume that I think is really very similar to Jo Malone Wood Sage and Sea Salt. I think it's beautiful, and actually, to be honest, even when I was wearing it, at least at first, I was quite enjoying it. And then the longer I'd had it on, I was just feeling like it was just a bit too masculine for me. And it is really, really pretty, and it definitely has that wood sage sea salt feel. But I find that one a bit masculine for me as well. So I was just like, oh, I do like this enough to keep hold of it and then try it again in warmer weather to see if I feel differently. But I think if I try this again in warmer weather, I'm just going to be like, okay, I think I'll pass this on to someone else who's going to enjoy it more. Probably someone who just loves wood sage and sea salt, because personally, it's just, that's not my favourite. Like in terms of freshies, I'd much rather wear a green tea or something. And I wouldn't give this to my husband because he's already got one of the other fig freshies that I got that also is in the same kind of vein, which is the CK Gold, and he smells so good in that one. Like, he doesn't need anything else. Like, that is so good on him. When he runs out of it, I am actually going to get him like the 200ml bottle of that, because I love how he smells in CK Gold. So anyway, this one just says iced lemon, sage, green notes, fig and dewdrops, but it definitely has a bit of a cold, slightly salty beach smell about it as well. And next to wood sage and sea salt, it doesn't really smell that salty, but if you just wear it away from that, you can sense that there's a kind of sea note in this. But yeah, it's super pretty, really, really nice, but yeah, it just didn't feel quite right. So later on in the evening, although to be honest, this one was still lasting, I could still smell it, I just decided to put something else on that felt a bit more like me. This is something else that it's quite sweet, but you could argue it's unisex, but it was just, yeah, lovely. This is Burberry Brit EDT, and I think because I wore the EDP last week, I was just like, no, I really want to smell Brit again. It's so delicious. So, yeah, so I broke out the EDT just to mix it up a little bit. And it's still gorgeous. It's very, very similar, but it's, I keeps falling back into I'm just going to put them on an angle so you can actually see, because it's so reflective. Yeah, it's just like a slightly more, I mean, I will say it, a slightly more medicinal version of the original Burberry Brit, because it has lemongrass in it, and it has a really strong and aromatic lemongrass note. And lemongrass does have a sort of slightly medicinal smell about it. It's got a real, essential oils feel about lemongrass to me. But this is beautiful. It's not as creamy as the original Brit. It's not as vanillic, but it's still very, very sugary. So this has green almond, lime, pear and lemongrass in the top. The mid notes are almond, sugar and peony. Base notes are vanilla, mahogany and amber. And so you probably get a similar amount of pear, but you get more lime in this one. You get that lemongrass, which is, like I said, a bit medicinal. You still get the almond. You get a load of sugar, but you don't get quite as much of the creamy vanilla, and the almond is a little bit more, I mean, it's still definitely there, but because there's not as much vanilla, it's just not as creamy. So it's lighter and easy to wear, and I loved it, and it's so lovely. So yeah, that was a really good one. Next up, oh yeah, I pulled this one out because I haven't mentioned it for a while, but I wear this in the evening quite a lot, sometimes when I go to bed. And I just love this, so I just wanted to pull it out again. This is Yardley, a beautiful cheapie. Yardley Lavender. This is, it's called Yardley English Lavender Contemporary Edition. And I've nearly polished off a little 10ml I had of this. And you can see I've already got a dent in this 50ml. I was going to get the massive, I think it's 125ml bottles they do of this, because they're excellently priced. But I kind of keep this next to my bed, so I wanted something a bit smaller and more manageable just because it goes next to my bed. But yeah, I move between spraying Twilight from Lush. They've renamed it as Sleepy in the body spray, but anyway, I've not tried it. I hope they haven't actually changed it. But I sometimes spray that. Most of the time, that's what I do. I spray that on my sheets, but sometimes I wear Chill Out by Oriflame, and sometimes I wear this. And this one I had on the other night, and I could still smell it when I woke up in the morning, and then I just carried on wearing it because it's just so pretty. So yeah, I wore this at the weekend because it's very comforting. And again, when I'm having, I mean, it's not bad stressful, but like obviously when you have deadlines and when things are a bit hectic and when you're trying to get things done and, you know, there are delays, I just need comfort. I want comfort, and a lot of the perfumes that I wore were just like, I just need to be comforted. So there's a lot of lavender. This one is beautiful. It's clary sage and bergamot in the top, mid notes of lavender, violet, chamomile, eucalyptus, geranium and jasmine, base notes, woodsy notes, patchouli and vanilla. So for me, I get a lot of the chamomile with the lavender. I do get a bit of clary sage. And definitely there's some bergamot in the top, but this becomes lightly sweet as it dries down. And it just makes me think of, if you can imagine, there was something like a lavender and chamomile tea. Like this feels like a tea perfume to me. Like if that actually said chamomile tea instead of lavender tea, then I'd be like, oh right, yeah, that's what it is. But it just gives me that feel. It's quite transparent, it's light. It's, again, got that aromatic essential oil style lavender that I think is just beautiful for bedtime. Really calming, really pretty, and an absolute bargain. So I just love that one. So I had a couple of days this week where I had a visitor who I was working with on this project, and I wanted to smell nice but not too overwhelming, you know, and because it was very cold, big jumper time. So this was a really nice one. I feel like there's a lot of cashmere wood in this. I wonder if that's the stuff they call cashmere, and it might be the same. Let me just see if it's getting a bit dark in my room. So this is Jimmy Choo Illicit. This is the original Illicit. There's one called Illicit Flower as well, but I've never actually seen that one. It's kind of hard to see, but it's written on it here. So Jimmy Choo Illicit. Very nice colour of this liquid. Really cool bottles. I like these. I feel like the bottle is part of why I wanted to try this one, but then I think, who is it I used to see talking about it a lot? Paola Bianco. I think she's moved away from YouTube, and I hope that she's living a wonderful, wonderful life. But she really loved this perfume. Possibly still does. I know she gave away a huge amount of her perfumes, most of her collection in fact. I think she was just ready to move on. But I know that she used to love this, so I tried the little sample and I was like, it's quite nice. I didn't love it because there's quite a lot of orange blossom in this. But then when I went back and I tried it again later on, once I have been doing this channel for a while and I've come a little bit more accustomed to orange blossom perfumes, I started to really like how this dried down. It opens with a lot of ginger and bitter orange. Those are the top notes. And then in the mid, you've got jasmine, sambac, orange blossom and rose. Base notes of honey, amber, caramel, vanilla, sandalwood and cashmere wood. So the other thing I wasn't mad about here was that cashmere wood, I get a little bit of that pencil shaving-y feel from it, which is not my favourite. But because the caramel and the honey here is really nice when it dries down, and I love a bit of ginger in a perfume, to be honest, I really like bitter orange in perfume as well. So I just kind of got used to that orange blossomy scent that's in here. And this just now smells to me like a honeyed floral, a woody honeyed floral. And it's really cozy, it's comfy. It does kind of feel like you're wearing a woolly jumper when you wear this. And it's got a very similar overall profile to Yves Saint Laurent, what's it called? Cinema. I say so much. I know I'm always umming and ahhing, but I'm always doing this on the hoof, you know. So I have Cinema as well, and that one's a little bit more floral. It's got less of that honey caramel in the base. It's a little bit more flowery, a little bit more powdery, and smells quite sophisticated, but maybe ever so slightly vintagey. This smells like a more modern take because it has those kind of gourmand elements thrown in it. It's not quite as powdery, but they've definitely got a very similar feel to them. So yeah, this is lovely. It was really nice. I enjoyed wearing it. I thought it smelled good. And then, again, I don't really need to say much about this. I did double Mon Guerlain this week. This is one, again, it's such a good perfume, any of them in fact. This is the Intense. It's such a good perfume to wear for events, or if you've got like more important things going on at work, because I think it's so sophisticated smelling, this perfume. I think it's so chic, it's so ladylike, but it's not offensive. It's really quite easygoing, it's soft, it's gentle. Even the Intense version at this time of year is not overwhelming at all. But it was funny because when I was wearing it, I kept thinking to myself that I was getting a cherry note this time round, and it doesn't have cherry in it, but there's just something about it that makes me feel like there is a fruity cherry here, or like a kind of, not like a sour cherry, but like a little gentle red cherry. Anyway, I don't really know where that's coming from. Hadn't really thought about it before, but yeah, I was just thinking to myself, oh, yeah, when I put my scarf on, I was like, my scarf smells like cherry, and then I realised it was this, and I was like, okay. So the Intense version, lavender, mandarin, orange and bergamot in the top, mid-notes, Tahitian vanilla, Madagascar vanilla, iris, jasmine, sambac and rose, base notes, coumarin, patchouli, licorice, benzoin, Australian sandalwood and white musk, and it's just fabulous. I just love it. It's definitely the best value of any of these. Like if I was going to narrow my collection down, I would probably just have this one, the Intense, for cold weather. For kind of mild weather, I'd have the original, and then for summer, I'd have the Sparkling Bouquet, because they're just amazing. So I also wore this guy. I think I wore this on Friday. I was having one of those days on Fridays where I wasn't really sure what I wanted to wear, but I knew I wanted something kind of a bit cozy and slightly sweet. But I have noticed something this year. I have not been enjoying like mega sweet perfumes. So I had planned to wear Sweet Tooth by Sabrina Carpenter, but every time I smell that perfume, I'm like, it's too sweet. Like, it's just too sweet. And I felt a little bit like that when I last wore the Philosophy's Fresh Cream and the Philosophy Fresh Cream Soft Suede. So I really like the Soft Suede one. It's my favourite from the collection. But it was a little bit of a struggle with how sweet it was. So last year, that was my jam. I was loving the super sweet, very sugary things. And this year, I'm liking sweet, but not quite that level of sugary sweetness. So yeah, weird. Anyway, so I was planning to put that on. I sniffed it and I was like, it's too sweet. I'm keeping hold of it because I might completely swing around the other direction next year, or it might just be that I've found my kind of level of sweetness and I can't really go more sugary than that nowadays. I don't know. We shall see how it goes on. But anyway, I was sniffing my perfumes in my winter area and I thought, I'll just put this one on. Hypnotic Poison. This is the EDT. Very pretty perfume, very spicy. It has that strange, and I do think it's strange. Like, I don't think my husband's particularly bothered about any of the poisons. Like, I always see them in the sexiest, perfumes lists and stuff. But I don't know. I don't feel like he's that interested in any of the perfumes that everyone says are sexy. Like, he seems to have a different taste. He definitely reacts a bit more to slightly fresher things, and he likes Lolita Lempicka a lot. He really likes those perfumes, but I don't know, he just, whenever I put these on, if I'm like, oh, do you want to smell me, he's like, oh, you just smell sweet. Like, that's his reaction. He's like, kind of just smell sweet or smell like vanilla or whatever. He's really not at all bothered. So I think this is quite a sexy perfume myself, like gently sexy, although I do think the EDP is more sexy. But yeah, he is so unmoved by the Hypnotic Poison perfumes, and he's pretty unmoved by pure Poison, and he's pretty unmoved by the original Poison most of the time. So yeah, anyway. This is coconut, plum and apricot in the top, Brazilian rosewood, jasmine, caraway, tuberose, rose and lily of the valley in the mid, vanilla, almond, sandalwood and musk in the base. So it definitely has that root beery smell that I didn't used to like at all, but this has got such a pretty vanilla and almond kind of marzipan-y woody dry down that I just kind of deal with that strange smell, and I'm getting more accustomed to it, if you see what I mean. I know a lot of people love that, but I've smelt a few fresher perfumes that have that root beery smell in as well, and they just really, I find them slightly unbearable. So it's like Jimmy Choo Flash, that one has that root beer smell once it dries down, and is it Mandorla di Sicilia? Really beautiful perfume from the Blue Mediterraneo range from, is it Aqua? Oh no, I can't remember what they're called, but you know the ones in the beautiful blue bottles, Aqua de Colonia or something, Aqua de something or another. That one is, again, I can recognise it's pretty, but the freshness of it mixed with that root beeriness makes me feel a bit queasy. There's something about this one that I can live with, despite the fact that normally I don't like that root beer smell, but it is very cosy, really comfy, and surprisingly easy to wear, because this is one of the, I got this on eBay, but this is one of the newer ones, so it's nowhere near as strong as it used to be, so it's kind of more bearable for me. And then I think because I'd been thinking about cherry, I was like, oh, I just have to wear it again. I'm going through an obsession. And it was interesting actually, because, so this is Guess Seductive Red, delicious, beautiful cherry and almond perfume that definitely has that kind of Baccarat Rouge-y overall profile to it. So I wore it to work, and I had some of my colleagues in with me on, when did I wear this one? Maybe it was Friday actually, I can't really remember. But they came in, and I had this on the desk because I just take this whole bottle with me. I just chuck it in my bag. And one of them said, oh, is that your perfume of the day? And she asked to smell it. So I handed it over and they were sniffing it. And then, and then one of my other colleagues, she couldn't smell it from the sprayer. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Some people get that with Baccarat Rouge. Like they just can't really smell it, or at least they smell it for a second and then it disappears. And so I sprayed it out, and she could smell it when I'd sprayed it. But then when she sniffed my hand, she couldn't smell it anymore. So I was like, oh, I wonder if you're one of the people who just can't quite get that, can't get something that's in the Baccarat Rouge style perfumes. Because I do think that these are, like, I really genuinely think Guess Seductive Red is similar to Baccarat Rouge, and I've heard so many people say it doesn't last. I genuinely believe that it lasts, but you can't smell it anymore. Because if I think of my scarves, or if I'm just not really concentrating and then I kind of move my arm, I can really smell it for all day. So I don't know that it doesn't last very long. I think you just go anosmic to something in these Baccarat Rouge perfumes so quickly. And I think other people can probably smell it. Like if you're moving around, I can always smell it on my clothes for days and days after I wear this. So I love this perfume. This is cherry, almond and pink pepper in the top. Mid notes cherry blossom, violet and magnolia. Base notes vanilla, tonka bean and sandalwood. And I could probably smell the violet this week. Tis my time of the month, so I've got different hormones to normal, but yeah, I could really get a bit of a sense for that violet, and I was loving it. And I feel like I left it for quite a long time because I was sick of smelling this profile everywhere. But now I don't smell it so much because, well, let's be real, everyone just smells like tar to me nowadays, so I can't really smell anything else. But I am loving wearing Seductive Red again. Like I'm getting a bit obsessed with it. I'm on a real cherry kick as well. Like I'm a bit sick of the other berries, but I'm really digging cherry right now. And then the last one to talk about is this baby. Again, when I'm stressed, when there's a lot going on, when I need comfort, I wear Skin Musk all the time. So Skin Musk oil, absolutely delicious. Oh my god. And I actually Roxy, lovely Roxy, who has been one of my subscribers and has been supporting my channel for a very, very long time. She sent me a little care package thing, and it's incredible, guys. And I will, there's too much, genuinely too much there for me to show you everything in one video. It would be extremely long. So as I'm going to have to put time by to like do little reviews occasionally of the samples and stuff. And but she did send me. She sent me a whole skin mask, and yeah, it's interesting because I feel like this one, I think this might be newer than the ones that I have, and it doesn't smell quite the same. So let me just take this out. I'm going to do a comparison here while we're doing it. It's definitely not as strong smelling as this one. And I don't know if you can see, but mine is a bit darker. Now, that might be because this has been open for ages. But yeah, it's interesting because, yeah, I feel like mine's a little bit thicker and a little bit darker. But like, as I said, it has been open for longer. But I've had this for a long time, and all of mine are quite old bottles now. But I think that this it smells lighter. It actually smells more like wild musk and slightly less soapy than my bottle. It's really interesting. Yeah, man, this is like, woo! This one is like straight smack in the face of skin mask. And it's quite a lovely kind of soapy musk. This one, this new bottle, and I think Roxy said that these were quite new. This one almost smells a bit more like wild musk. It's really interesting. So I'm very happy to have extra because I do get through these and I love them. But yeah, absolutely beautiful. So I can't wait to show you because Roxy has a lot of niche samples. So I'll be able to try and do some comparisons and try and find you some kind of cheaper alternatives, you know. But anyway, so thank you to Roxy. It's just absolutely unbelievable. I've never had anything like that before. So I was all like emotion. I was showing my husband and I was all excited. I was like, oh my God, look at this, look at this. But anyway, you'll see I'm wearing one of the decants that she sent me, so you'll see the little decant next week. But anyway, yeah, what an absolute star. Now then, that was my last one that I properly wore. The other one I wanted to mention quickly is because when I was walking past the Hermès stand, and I forgot this last week, and I can still smell it a little bit on here, but when I was walking past Hermès, the lady asked if I wanted to smell the new perfume, which, oh my goodness, what's it called? Oh, how do you say this? Oh no. Barénia? Anyway, it's this one in this cool bottle. And I hadn't really tried to smell this one because I knew I wasn't going to like this. Because, I mean, look, it says main accords, woody, patchouli and oud. There's just no, you know, it's just not going to be my kind of thing, really, is it? But anyway, so this one has notes of miracle berry and bergamot in the top, white ginger lily in the mid, patchouli, akigala wood and oak in the base. And the patchouli is voted as being the top, with the miracle berry next in line, followed by the akigala wood. So this is just like a very sour fruit patchouli to me. This is what this smells like. It gives me a little bit of a vibe. I'm not saying that they smell alike because I don't really think that they necessarily do. But in terms of the kind of sour scent that I get from perfumes, I'm thinking of like Chanel Coco Mademoiselle, the original one, not the intense one. Chanel Coco Intense, the one in the black bottle, I think that is, or like with the black label. And what's it called? Lovely by Sarah Jessica Parker. That kind of patchouli, woody, sour fruit smell. Like, yeah, not because this actually smells like any of those, but that's just the general feel it gave me. So yeah, it's just not at all my kind of thing. But I think if you love like Chanel Coco Intense, if you love Lovely, that kind of thing, you'd probably quite like. I'm gonna have to look at the name again because I'm gonna get it wrong otherwise. Barénia from Hermès. So yeah, I knew it wouldn't be my thing. I gave it a sniff. She offered to spray it on my skin and I was like, absolutely, thanks, but no thanks. That's I'm pretty sure it's not going to be my vibe, because I just don't like this kind of patchouli. It's kind of a bright, fruity, very sour patchouli and fruit. Yeah, so not for me, but I thought I'd mention that I'd smelt it because I was given it while I was in whatever shop I was in to smell the Chanel ones. Yeah, so that's it for this week. I feel like I've been a bit rambly and mental, but I'm just there's just a lot to do in quite a little time, and I now know that I'm definitely gonna be late with this video, guys. All right, tell me what you wore this week. Tell me if you've got any of these. Tell me what's been your favourite recently, and tell me if you've gone off anything in your collection, or if you're going off anything and you're liking other things. I feel like with like tastes in perfumes, the same with food. Like you go through these little obsessions where you really like one sort of thing. And then you kind of come out of it and you're like, I'm a bit bored of that now and I want something else. And that, yeah, so I don't know. I feel like it just like, you know, ebbs and flows with my taste in perfumes nowadays. There's some like this that I think are never going to go away. Skin Musk is always one of my favourite. And I feel like I'm loving lavender so much that that's not really changed. But with other things, definitely, I'm still a classic fuss pot. So anyway, it's been a bit of a fussy week, but also quite a fun one. I will see you next week when I will also probably be a little bit frazzled. But I hope everyone's getting on well. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you if you subscribe. If you don't, please do consider subscribing to my channel because it makes a massive difference. It really helps me a lot. So thanks again, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye, guys.